Fine. And is all well with you, Dorothy?
Quite well. I only asked. No, that is not.
You're quite sure?
Yes, quite sure.
Very well. All is very well. Well then.
Yes.
So, back to it.
Yes. On with our work.
Indeed.
Oh, I can't wait for you to read it to me. The Leech Gatherer, a masterpiece, I'm sure. I shall cease my prattling and let you get on. What a burden I must be.
Oh, not at all, dear Dorothy. But, as you say, I must get on with it. So on I shall go. With it. Such seemed this man, not all alive, nor dead, nor all asleep in his extreme old age. His body was bent double, feet and head coming together. Something, page. No. Coming together, something, great. Nope. Something, mage, sage, cage, wage, stage.
Pilgrimage.
Sorry?
Pilgrimage. Coming together in life's pilgrimage.
Yes. In life's pilgrimage. Very good. Thank you, sister. Thanking you.
Thank you, dear brother. I can't wait for you to read a whole rendition of it when you have finally finished the piece.
As ever, you are too kind, dearest sister. But please, don't let me disturb your journal entries, though.
Oh, the words are pouring from me today.
They do seem to be.
I can't seem to write fast enough.
Apparently not.
A wellspring of emotions and feelings are springing forth from my mind.
Yes.
Every sight, sound, taste and smell of the past few days have been recreated for me in glorious detail.
Brilliant.
And I know not how, but the words that are springing to my mind are not of my usual parlance, and yet are so familiar and perfect in the distillation of the moods and vistas of my recent trials and tribulations that it baffles me to the core as to where they're coming from. Case in point, when did you ever hear me say the phrase distillation of the moods and vistas before? It is quite astonishing.
Me too.
And, dearest brother, my writing is adapting as I dip into the styles and the utterances of the different people that I write about. Isn't that remarkable?
It most certainly is.
And what I find even more flabbergasting, there I go again, flabbergasting. Where on earth did that come from?
Search me.
Oh, the clarity of the scenes that I write about seem to come to life and...
Hold on! Oh, good Lord. I do apologise, dear sister. Please forgive that startling interruption there. But I beg of you not to take offence. It's just that much as I would love to hear more of the ease and effortless brilliance with which you are composing your dear diaries, I must get on with my poems, otherwise I fear they shall never be complete. I am sorry again for cutting you off mid-flow, very sorry. It may just be a glimpse of jealousy at the ease, apparent ease with which you are writing. Perhaps a few minutes of silence would help. No, I meant nothing by it. Please, I take it back.
Oh.
Finish what you were saying before.
No! What have I done? What wretched lack of thought on my behalf. I'm not in my right mind these days. What with recent events, I shall not say another word.
Well, as long as you're quite sure that I meant no offence, Dorothy. Some silence would be most welcome.
Yeah.
Very sorry.
No, it is I should be apologising. The very idea that I've disturbed your creativity fills my heart with such anguish.
Oh, Dorothy, please calm yourself.
No, I cannot help it, brother. The notion of my ceaseless tongue destroying your prose and verse with wanton abandon makes me want to wail and laugh.
Oh, please, no, not the wailing and blood.
Knocking your words of beauty into the very ditch.
Oh, Dorothy, please, you mustn't upset yourself.
Oh, I shall bear it will never stop. The welling of melancholy, the very notion that I disturbed your beautiful words of prose on their pages of history.
Dorothy, it's not true. Look, I am writing. Look, Dolly, look, I am writing. Scripting poetry inspired by your diaries. Look, here we go. As if some dire constraint of pain, or rage, of sickness felt by him in times long past. A more than human weight upon his frame had
Cast.
yes, excellent, cast. Of sickness felt by him in times long past, a more than human weight upon his frame had cast. There you go, you see. 3 lines and a rhyme inspired by you. What would I do without you?
3 lines and a rhyme. Oh, William, I think I've got my feelings back in check now.
Good. I mean, that is good.
What a way with words you have, dear brother.
Well, the clue's in the name.
In what name?
In our name.
Dorothy and William.
Never mind.
Oh, that is better. I am so sorry yet again.
Oh, not at all, not at all. 3 lines and a rhyme.
Yes, lovely.
That's one. 3 lines and a rhyme.
Yes.
3 lines and a rhyme.
William, what is the matter?
3 lines and a rhyme that wasn't even mine. And all it took was one of my sister's nervous breakdowns. What an insupportable trade-off that is.
Oh, William, please explain. What is the matter with you?
3 lines and a rhyme. It's the most that I've been able to come up with in so long now that it chills me to the bone.
That can't be true, William, because I have sat here watching you writing every single day.
Dorothy, dear, sweet Dorothy. It's all a sham, dear sister. That which you mistook for writing was pride's deception. Rather than confess my lack of writing ability recently, I've been writing flim-flam. Indeed, I have doodled so many needless pictures of anything and everything from daffodils to cuckoos. I've written out socking great tracts of everything from Shakespeare, Milton, Chaucer, Spencer, hoping that inspiration would strike, but alas, no it has been forthcoming. My writing has of late, dear sister, been a big, fat, disappointing, impotent pretense. I wrote a verse of something that I thought was truly sublime the other day, only to realise on rereading it that I'd just copied out the middle section of Coleridge's This Lime Tree Bar in My Prison. In fact, it goes so badly with me of late, I don't know why. But I've written nothing of any worth in 2 whole weeks now.
Oh, William, how awful for you. And what a dreadful waste of ink.
Oh, indeed it is, dear sister.
How?
I stare at the blank page. The awful blank page. And no matter how hard I try to further my story, all I keep coming up with is hollow words and pretentious waffle.
William, how can I help you in this terrible affliction. Can I inspire you? Are my journals not helping like you say they so often do?
Well, I must confess of late that your journals, although they are, as ever, a great source of joy in the reading, have not been helping me out of this particular hole.
William, speaking as one who has walked her fair share of the countryside and yet has done a fraction of what you have done, Germany and France, England, Scotland and Wales to boot, what do all guides impart to us about getting lost?
You see, aside from always carrying a trusty compass and map, one should always carry a goodly supply of victuals, spirits and pocket meats.
Yes, all good advice, I'm sure, but I do believe that when one is lost, one should go back on themselves, find a place on the road that they recognise, then gather themselves up with a new sense of purpose for one's destination.
Go backwards in order to go forwards, you mean?
Precisely.
Oh, that seems safe enough, dear sister.
Yes.
But, how far back do I go? What is my destination?
But William, you know this. Your destiny is to write that which is for all, for the pleasure and enrichment of the common man, with words and phrases that any may understand, to unleash the idea that though we may all differ in small ways, there are many universal truths that unite us all and bind us together.
Thank you, Dorothy. I've quite lost my way, and as ever, you were there to guide me.
It is my honour and joy to think that I may assist you in any way. And the answer to your other question, I think only you know the answer to that.
What other question?
When you are lost, how far do you go back?
That is a very difficult question indeed. When one is looking for universal truths, where should one look?
In your memories.
Where I drew my inspiration from as a young man?
From nature.
Aye. From the glories and sublime sights and feelings stirred up by wondrous nature, where one may see the face of God in everything that man does not create. It is so simple and yet
So true.
do you feel up to a walk up Rydal Mount, dear Dorothy?
Do you know, dear William, I rather think I do. I don't wait to see the
Coach, daffodils, William Bloom and ospreys fledging.
Oh, so beautiful.
Shelter quite.
Indeed, absolutely. Oh,
quick. You must get dry. You cannot risk getting your children, sister.
nor you, dear brother.
Right, I'll light the fire.
Oh, I'll fetch the towels. No dampness must rest upon you.
No, you do, sister. Please make haste, do.
Oh, here, will you please get the damp off your chest? You cannot have any more strain than you already do.
You, dear sister, with all your aches and pains, must not go sporting wet hair, tempting face.
Goodness, it's coming down. It is coming down with some intensity out there.
A great idea, though.
Yes.
To get back to the greatest inspiration of them all. But nature is not there for our convenience. Thwart it again. It seems like we shall never get on with our work.
Maybe now it is time to share with you a secret that I have been keeping from you for risk of incredulity. I'm scared that you may think my wits have quite left me.
What do you mean, dear sister?
No, maybe not.
No, please, do speak on. I'm agog with curiosity.
Very well. The release from my fevered head will be cathartic, I'm sure, so fantastical. It's telling, maybe. Please brace yourself, dear brother, for the most extraordinary event in my life.
Building it up so much, dear Dorothy, that I fear I shall be disappointed unless you're about to tell me that you witnessed the second coming.
Oh, nothing so mundane, I can assure you. Heaven forgive me. An incident occurred as I returned home from Aggie Fleming's house on the Keswick Way. You were in London at the time. After it happened, I raced back here as fast as my legs could carry me, quite out of breath and reeling from the shock and awe that I had just experienced. I returned home and promptly fainted on this very floor. I woke an hour or so later, thinking what had happened could not have happened. So conceivable in my mind that it was more a vivid nightmare, and that I wrote it all down here in my journal. Oh.
Dorothy, please go on with your story and let me be the judge of that which may or may not have happened.
Leave me, William. Brace yourself as I begin.
Please, go on.
It was nearing twilight. I crossed the fellside looking down the valley to the forest end of Grasmere. As I made my lonely way across the verdant hills, the light took on an almost golden hue. I noticed that all the birdsong had ceased, and the wind did seem to thicken, and the air. I had a strange sense of foreboding that made me look about for shelter, and then began a sound so terrifying and unearthly that I made straight for a clump of tussocks beside an old dry stone wall and threw myself down to hide. How to describe this noise when I'd never heard its like before? A roaring, rasping, undulating scream and whine all rolled into one. I peeked out from where I lay sprawled and tried to locate from whence its location. My eyes darted hither and thither. I scanned the landscape rapidly, to no avail. Then my heart froze, and I beheld the most eerie sight I've ever seen. 10 yards from where I lay in shock across the path, on a platform of earth and moss, a ghostly shape began to form.
Was it a man or a woman?
Neither do we. It was the ghost of a shed.
A shed?
Quite so. The image of this ghostly box did thicken in form before my very eyes, and the sound grew in intensity to match.
A shed?
Yes. Yes, indeed, yes, a shed. And it faded again, then strengthened again, and then faded again, and then strengthened again, and so on, getting slower, as it did teasing the senses as to whether it would fully materialise or not.
A shed?
Correct! But not just any old shed, William. But as the shed materialised to its completion as a thing, it came more solid. I took in its form in much more detail, my mind racing for certainty to fight off the sense that everything we thought we knew was now unclear. The shed was taller than a man by about 2 foot and coloured a rough deep blue.
A blue shed?
I know. The tall rectangular structure was panelled on one side, as if it were made of tall double doors. Above head height around the shed were little windows, framed in white, and above these windows I read the words police and box and public call, all in capitals, if you please.
Tall blue police box shed.
Yes.
You haven't been at the laudanum again, have you?
Oh no, William, I was completely sober. I was very, very scared. You must believe me.
I can but sympathise. A big blue box must be a horror to behold.
It was not the horror in itself, but more the manner of its arrival.
Oh, with its noise and the materialising, quite assuredly.
Yes. Yes, well, William, there's more to come.
Well, certainly would be. Please carry on.
My senses had not been overburdened enough. The shed's front panel turned out to be a hidden double door, the right-hand side opening inwards, and from it strolled, as bold as brass, a woman and a man.
Were they ghosts?
No, they were as solid as you or I. The man looked to be aged about 50 or so, and the woman in her mid-30s, very well off by their general state of health, neither one bewigged. He had greying hair, cut very well, and she had a shoulder-length blonde, and a parting to the left. They stood before their blue shed and looked about the scene, and then the doctor spoke out loud while smiling the most dazzling white smile, and said, Dorothy Wordsworth, don't be afraid, I'm the doctor. I'm quite friendly, and I've something important here for you and your brother William.
What did he mean by that?
She?
No, I meant the doctor.
No, yes, the doctor was a she.
female doctor.
Indeed.
She was the doctor and not the older man.
Quite so. And she referred to the man as her companion.
Her companion?
That and Graham.
A female doctor?
Yes.
Next you'll be telling me she was wearing trousers.
Well, those are military-style boots and jacket.
Are you sure this was not just an effeminate young man?
Quite sure, William.
Well, how so?
Well, underneath her jacket was a shirt that was cut quite loose.
So?
So, believe me, William, the doctor was a woman.
What happened next?
Right. She held aloft a canvas backpack and said she didn't have time to explain thoroughly, but some bad people had been draining the world's most inspirational writers and artists of their creativity to keep the masses docile and compliant.
Which bad people?
Well, she didn't say, but she put the backpack on the ground and said it contained writing from the children of the future who were still inspired by what you had written and what you will come to write. And that if you got stuck, I should show you this. And then it must be returned once it had been used and not to worry. After which they both waved and went back in the shed. Then the companion, Graham, he leaned out and he said he really liked daffodils and he could still remember it from school.
Daffodils?
I know. And then he muttered something about Shakespeare could do one though. I don't know.
Okay, well what happened then?
Oh, well then, you know, the ghastly noise started again, reappearing and dematerialising, reappearing and dematerialising, and then it quite vanished. Well, and then, as I said, I rushed back here and collapsed, fainted, woke up, wrote it all down in my diary. Oh, what do you think is my mind being finally rent asunder by the trials of life, my bilious attacks, and terrible to think.
I think if you say that you saw these things, well then they must have happened. Either in the realm of the imagination or in the realm of the senses.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Not at all, this is.
You have your esteem of me not withdrawn. It's a great relief. Personally, I think I'm as cracked as an old plate.
Oh, no. Just the victim of a harsh dose of imagination, maybe.
Quite so, yes.
I think, however, to say that these happened, that this was a real thing, without any further proof than that which you report, would be folly. I think that if a physician or a doctor were to hear this story, they think you possibly worthy of the madhouse.
Yes.
I think that
incredible, isn't it?
I think this is the most extraordinary thing that I have ever held in my life. These metal seams. This material, what is this? And these metal discs that connect and disconnect with the merest pressure. What is Superdry? How light it is, and yet so strong.
Marvellous, isn't it? Wait until you see what's inside.
What? Well, how do I open it?
Just pull the Superdry label upwards along the metal seam.
Oh, Dorothy, what have I done? I've broken it! The seams come apart!
It's all right, William, just put it downwards again.
What? Would you look at that?
Open it again, William. Please see what's inside it.
This paper. It's so uniform. And so white. It's the whitest paper I have ever seen.
Almost as white as the doctor's teeth.
And so thin. And yet so strong. Truly, this is the paper of the future.
Yes.
Oh, they must prize this beyond gemstones and gold.
Yet see what is written upon it.
These look like children's writing exercises. Is paper of this quality so abundant in the future that they can afford to give it to children?
And what a wonderful future to have such abundance.
What is this? Birthdays. Birthdays are pink, like candles on a cake. They taste like soft, sweet buttercream, which can be sickly, depending on how much you take. Dorothy, it's poetry.
Yes, William, the poetry of the future. How do I know this? Read what's at the top of the pages.
Wednesday, the 9th of March, 2022.
Yes,
220 years in the future.
it must be so. This one. This is simply called Winter by Matthew L. Winter is white. Winter tastes like hot chocolate. Winter sounds like robins chirping. Winter smells like fresh bark. Winter makes me feel cozy.
This is called Landslide. And it's got a picture of a tiger at the bottom.
Oh.
By Harry. The landslide was like a tiger, roaring down the slope, like a fire burning all the life, like a whale crashing through the sea. Animals struggle on the land as all the rubble tumbled down, through the stream towards the lake, over to where the bear hibernates, destroying the ground all around, even destroying the trees all around, deers fleeing at every chance. Dancing birds weep worryingly as the land below crumbles apart. But a single plant stays rooted to the ground, lonely, peaceful, but crashing all around.
Oh, tragic, wonderful. This one is by Grace. It's called Forests. Forests are covered in green from shrubs to leaves on the trees. Forests taste of sweet red hand-picked wild strawberries. Forests sound like birds tweeting. Forests smell moistened of plants. Forests feel calm and peaceful.
Now this is by Ella H. Some little pictures here. A blue thing on a stick. Summer. The hot sun shines brightly. Water fights for everyone. Ice lollies, yum yum yum. People by the swimming pool.